Hello viewers, welcome back to another episode of House of Fame. Today we have Anto Philip joining us, the co-founder and the CEO of Under 25 Universe, India's largest student community across life, media and tech. He is featured in multiple publications including Forbes and India Today, to name a few. In 2018, he was on the 27 Under 27 list by Soho House. He has spent a decade prioritizing student lives and enhancement by understanding the semantics of life experiences, celebrity culture, networking, relationship management, lifestyle, filmmaking, and much more to it, which we will be unfolding through the course of the interview. I'm very delighted to welcome you on behalf of School of Commerce, Finance and Accountancy.
I'm delighted to be here.
The pleasure is all ours. So now to start off with, ever since I actually stepped into Bangalore, I've been just hearing this buzzword, the under 25, and I've always been very curious about the whole thing. And now that I'm seeing you in person, who's behind all these things, can you just brief a little on your journey throughout?
Wow. It's such a powerful question to be answering in this very studio because, if I have to really talk about the journey, I have to celebrate this particular moment because I'm sitting at the place that birthed the idea of Under 25.
Okay, that you just made it
which
even
is
more interesting.
Christ University, right?
Okay.
And I've been a Christite, just to give a little bit of a background, because we're talking about journey. My entire education life, I have been a Christite. So I went to Christ School, then I went to Christ Junior College, then I went to Christ University. My whole life I've been a Christite. And, whenever I remember my time at Christ, school is, of course, completely different. Junior college, I think, I started having a relationship with the classroom very differently. I started realizing from, school very early on that I did a lot more outside of the classroom. But in junior college, it got even more reinforced because I come from a state syllabus school, which is Christ School.
Okay.
Junior college had ICSE, CBSE students alongside us. And the time that I spent inside the classroom made me realize that I wasn't against school or college or education. I thought it was great.
Okay.
But I also liked my life outside of the classroom, which was when I took part in theatre. I don't know, I did everything. I used to go MC, we used to have class culturals, I used to take part in class culturals. Some of my friends would come and say, Anto, do you know how to beatbox? I wouldn't know how to beatbox, but then I'll go learn how to beatbox. And then I became a part of a Western Acoustics team. I was part of, at that time, I did commerce camps. And so we had product launches. I used to go take part in them. So I realized that Anto Philip, the identity was not just he's a commerce student.
Okay.
He's an actor, or he's a singer, or he's a musician, or he's a MC, or whatever. And I think I realized that I'm all of that.
Was it more of self-discovering yourself in multiple dimensions?
I think I'm still discovering myself. I think the discovery never gets over.
Yeah,
but I think I celebrated the fact that there is more to life than just being inside the classroom.
True.
And I'm not, like I said, in any way taking away my time within the classroom. But what I'm celebrating more is I was in an environment like Christ, and this is not because I'm sitting inside Christ, where actually every day, like now I'm sitting here, I can hear people scream, which means there's some event happening on campus every single day.
Always.
Every day there is something happening, and I know that for a fact is why I am who I am today, is because I got these opportunities. But here's what I did differently. I grabbed them. I took part in every single thing. No matter what, no matter how, I felt underconfident in some places, I still wanted to take part. So my journey, if you ask me about Under 25, is about recognizing that we as students have a life much more than being in the classroom, and thereby we needed a community that celebrated that. So today, Under 25 is just a community of more students like Anto, whose discovery is much beyond that they're a commerce student or a science student or an art student. And that is what Under 25 does.
So, like, how exactly did this all idea evolve? I mean, pretty sure it just didn't evolve in one night. So, what was the thought process going through the whole thing?
So, today I think I can explain the idea a little more, but at least when I started off, and this is 10 years back. So I was in Christ Junior College when I was in 2012. I graduated from second PU. So 2011, 2012, I'm in junior college. At that time, I have no idea about what I'm talking. All of what I'm saying right now, I've only understood over a period of time. At that time, I felt energized by it. So I said, there are more driven students who need to be taken seriously, and they need not graduate from college to be taken seriously. Because I don't need a certificate to say that I'm good at something.
True.
I need intent. I need drive. I need commitment. I need trust. I need integrity. And I thought, there are so many students like me. I mean, today you are that student. I know that for a fact because you're here sitting and having that conversation with me, which means your curiosity has led you to opportunities that made this unique reality possible. That for me was my story. I did this. I sat on the other side. I did many of this. I was in the studio several times. And the reason why I love that is because that made me discover a version of me that I would have never discovered. So how did it evolve? The idea evolved naturally because I said, I want to build a youth community. How will it make money? I have no idea. What is it going to do? I have no idea. What do I know how to do? Oh, I used to run college fests in college. Oh, I used to do prayas, or I used to build blossoms, or I used to do in bloom, or I used to take part in darpan. Or so I knew how I could bring people together. I also used to take part in church retreats. I used to go to sing in the church. So I had a vague idea of how to bring people together. And then I took part in TEDx, I took part in this, I took part. So then I was like, okay, all of these things are ways in which people can come together. So that's the first idea I had, Under 25 Summit. Can I do an event where young people come together? I know how to organize events because I've done it before.
In college.
In college. And I don't want it to be competitive because Prayas is competitive or like, Darpan is competitive. What if I celebrate confusion?
Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah. What if I celebrate confusion? What if it's okay to try 100 things and then find out 99 things I don't want to do? Because at least when I was in college, everyone used to come and tell me and to find that one thing and do that one thing. But I wanted to do many things and I liked many things. But maybe I didn't want to do that as my career. But then why did they stop me when I was in college? I thought I can try it nonetheless, right? So celebrating confusion essentially meant how can I, as a festival, have many things in one place. So there's food, design, tech, culture, talks, panels, workshops, performances, everything in the same space. So people are getting inspired, people are making friends, people are meeting new people are trying a new food experience for the first time. People are also discovering themselves. People are also realizing, oh, I don't really like this as much. People are suddenly bringing their parents. People are suddenly talking about, oh my God, I thought I'm going to come here and be bored, but I'm more involved. Can I come volunteer? And then suddenly we're recognizing that this is powerful. There is a need for a community like this because there are more students like me and you. And that is how Under 25's year 1 led into year 2, then it led into year 3. And when I'm saying this, I might sound like I had it all figured out. I have to tell you, I had no clue about what I was doing. The only clue I had was that young people, if they put their mind to something and if they're committed to it, they will make anything happen. And I was amidst those kind of young people. My co-founder was that kind of a person. My friends were those kind of people. And we said, can we do this? That energy, that irrational optimism that we have as young people, that if I want it, I'll get it. And then we went and made it happen. We made losses. But we made it happen. And that's how Under 25 story essentially, it took shape from an idea to a festival. And then rest is, I'm still going through that journey of discovering what more is to come.
The journey actually sounds pretty like realistic, if I were to say. And like when you mentioned about the parents, that's kind of hooked me. So you're coming from an Indian middle class family, if I'm not wrong, right?
Malayali middle class family.
Malayali middle class family, that's right. So was it difficult for you to convince your parents on what you actually wanted to do? Like you did not sit for placements or after the college. So how difficult was it for convincing them?
You know, my dad was in the Gulf.
Okay.
My mom is a nurse. And we come from a middle class Malayali family. So I'm the typical Mallu Christian stereotype.
Okay.
And I go to Christ University. So here I am going to my parents and saying, I want to change the world. I want to build youth community. Student change making power. They are literally like, and before that I had another company, I mean not a company, whatever, I had another project called the Big Band Theory, which is to sell customized wristbands.
Okay.
And I go up to my parents and I tell them, listen, I want to do this. I want to I don't want to sit for placements. In fact, I was a Google student ambassador, so I had an opportunity to take up a job.
Okay.
Or apply for that and continue my time with Google. I was also interning with Microsoft, so I could take that job up. So I had good opportunities, and I was fairly the most active kid in Christ at that time. So I could have that internal confidence in me to believe that I can land any job. And with that as my possibility, imagine me going to my Malayali parents and telling them, Ma, Dad, I'm not going to sit for placements. I literally...
Do you still remember that day?
I remember that day. For the literally, that's the kind of emotion my dad was looking at me. I said, please give me a chance.
Okay.
I sold it differently. I said, give me 1 year.
Okay.
During that time, let's go to our relatives and anybody who's asking us and tell them that Anto is preparing for higher studies.
Okay. The best way to convince the family.
That's the deal. I said, if we say that, then y'all are in the green. Your stress is what? Anto shouldn't look like he didn't get a job.
True.
Cool. I will say that I'm preparing for higher studies.
Okay.
Cool. 1 year you give me. 1 year I'm going to do this, because if not me, then who? I'm asking them all this. They are looking at me, they're ready. Who's gonna get married to you? Why are you doing this? What's the point of all this? What is youth community? Community event management company you're gonna run. Don't do all this. Anto, look at how capable you are. And my dad's immediately after that looking at me and saying, whatever you do is fine.
Okay.
But you're not getting a single rupee from home. That is the deal. Then my mom looks at me and said, cool, all this is fine. 1 year is the maximum amount of time you're going to get. But to be really honest with you, jokes aside, I realized that if I'm not able to convince my parents that this is what I want to do and believe in, how can I convince the rest of the world to believe in me?
True.
Literally, they are my home.
Yeah.
They are my family. They gave birth to me. If these two people can't see what I'm seeing, then how can I get the rest of the world to see?
Yeah, who else is going to trust you if they don't?
So, I think they still believed in me.
Okay.
Their fear was, of course, security and don't make a stupid mistake and don't do this out of, don't do this out of stupidity. And they were just trying to take care of me.
Yeah, their concern was genuine.
Very real. So, I love my parents and I don't think they came from the wrong place. But they also drove me to prove a point.
Okay.
And that in that 1 year, I had to prove a point. I had to get it right. But I didn't get it right.
Okay.
And the first year was the most hard one because we didn't make any money or we couldn't survive through that. But I think through that process, they saw how real my passion was, how real my intention was, how really badly I wanted it. And then over a period of time, today they're my biggest cheerleaders. Mum actually works at Christ right now. She was a nurse. She finished her time at Niman's Hospital. She came back and joined Christ as a nurse. And Dad is here. Dad is working at a company. Both of them, today now we spend time talking about what's happening at work, how are things going. So they've become my anchor, my support, my grounding, my friends through the process. So to anybody, and this is to anybody who's watching this, the concern of parents is real, and there is no doubt that they're out there looking out for you. But that doesn't any way mean that you shouldn't follow what your heart wants. Because at the end of the day, you will feel fulfilled only if you go after that want. And they will also feel happy because you chose what matters to you. And over a period of time, it will make sense. And today, I'm glad to say that it does.
All right. That's pretty interesting to know all of it. But you know, one fear that people have, like especially after they graduate, it's more like it's full of uncertainties. They don't know what to do. And even if they have something, there is a constant fear within them to do something real out there. So what do you have to say about that?
What is real?
It's more of like till this time you're all in a bubble. Like you finish your school, you come to a college, okay, you're again in a bubble. And after that you need to get out. And a lot of the time, I mean, if I were to refer myself, I don't want to be in a corporate. And when I just look like that and when I see what's next, it's more of like I'm getting out to the real world. And that kind of creates a sense of fear within. So what do you have to say about that? How do you overcome that fear?
The fear of choosing something that is going to make you feel secure. Is that the fear? What fear?
It is the fear of not knowing what's going to happen if you choose something which is very, very broad out there and you don't know how it's going to end up.
And I'm gonna be really honest with you. I don't think there is the lack of fear in choosing something that is already defined, which means you go into a set system or a corporate, you will still feel significant amount of fear. But that time, the fear will not be about what you chose. The fear will be about what you're not listening to. Because at the end of the day, no matter what's said and done, you have to wake up and do something every single day. And if it doesn't excite you, you are going to go back into a cycle of fear and uncertainty. Fear only comes when you are trying to prove a point or make someone else's dreams come to existence. I've had so many friends who've chosen corporate lives, and they have absolutely dominated in them. They were never uncertain of that. They were very certain that that's what they wanted. And they've stayed 10 years in that same realm. But I've also had friends who had this fear, who've said, I want to have a secure life, but went there in 2 months, felt miserable, and chose the life of what their heart wanted. And what I mean by that is they started listening to what makes them feel alive. And it might sound very esoteric when I say feel alive. It is what excites you.
True.
And what excited me was communities, people, young people, my own journey, and that is the only reason I could wake up and do this every single day. The fear of uncertainty comes from a place of not believing in yourself. If you had significant amount, and this is not a you story, I'm saying anybody, if an individual had significant amount of conviction that where they are and why they are who they are will make any part of their choice be justified, because I am the one doing it. I will give my entirety towards it. That way, I'm not waiting on the job, the corporate job, or my entrepreneurship dream, or my creative pursuit define my belief. My belief is creative pursuit will now get Anto Philip. The corporate world will now get Anto Philip, and this entrepreneurship idea will get Anto Philip.
True.
Which one deserves Anto Philip? You turn it the other way around. You look at it from the point of view of which one deserves your gift. And then you are operating with that power. Otherwise, you're letting the world define you. And I'm scared that when the world defines me, I might just become one of those pieces in the puzzle where I knew that I am the puzzle and I just needed to keep telling myself all the pieces are in me. Let me find more of that. And for me, fear is a constant. I go back, address it, sit with it. Sometimes my heart beats faster because I'm triggered because of some past experience. And it's fine. Choose, fail, choose again, fail again. That fact of believing will never change. And I have now come to realization there will never be a time in my life that I'm not going to feel uncertain, not going to feel fear. So now I'm going to make that my friend. I'm going to look at it with love, and I'm going to approach it with my belief in myself, not in what I'm going to do.
So, like the individuals, like they're very enthusiastic about doing certain things and all of it, but usually what I've observed is like the societal pressure is a lot on them, and sometimes it just kind of restrict them from doing what they actually want to, or even if, let's just say, if I want to be an entrepreneur, and the societal pressure that puts on me in the limelight and just kind of pressurizes me to ensure that I have to be successful. Otherwise, like the entire life was a disaster. That's how they make you feel. So how to overcome that, the way how people look at you?
I'll tell you a personal story. You know, when I'm sitting here, it might look to you that I'm successful, or the society might say Anto has done a good job or a bad job. I have to tell you the personal truth is I have seen significant highs and very low lows where I felt like failure.
Okay.
But at every time I felt like a failure, I thought I should cover it up. I should cover it up and look like I got it all sorted. I think we're not normalizing failure. We're not normalizing that human experience, life, is filled with good, bad, and ugly. I cannot operate with only a smile and only a I'm always getting it, I'm the best at what I do all day, every day. Because if I'm doing that, I'm celebrating toxic positivity. And the truth is, some days I am that. Some days I'm not that. Some days I feel incapable. Some days I have self-doubt. Some days I look at myself and I'm like, I made all these decisions, I led teams, I disappointed people, so many of my team members left, so many people don't think any of what I said ever makes sense. All of those noises also come into your head. We are human. We're not going to live with one rosy reality. So society will think what they have to think. What's worse is, when did I start listening to what the society is saying?
You know, that thought is very provoking, but the point is, how much ever we try not to listen to that voice, it's always bussing you throughout.
And that's the truth.
Yeah, it is. So,
and it is okay to accept it.
Okay.
That they are saying this about me. Now I don't have to put a front. I don't have to fight it. If that's what they think, that's what they think. Do I think that about myself? The worst part is the day I started thinking that about myself, I realized that maybe some of that is true. Maybe some of what people are going to tell about you are true. Maybe some of it is not true. The only way I could justify waking up and continuing to do it is that regardless of what people said or not, do I want to do this every single day? The provoking nature of what other people think about you is coming from an insecurity within. And I'm very insecure. My insecurity comes from the place of I'm middle class. My insecurity comes from the place of if I am not CEO of under 25, who am I? My insecurity comes from if I don't show the world I'm capable, will they think I don't bring value? Will they lose love for me? And the thing is, should Anto be loved? Only he brought value to the table. Should Anto be loved only if he was successful? Should Anto be loved only if he had all the money in the world? That is insecurity. Because then it's a bottomless pit. Someday I will have $1 million. At 1 million, I'll feel like I don't have 10.
True.
At 10, someone will say that, look at him. He's being pompous, he's being egoistic, he wants to show off. People are not going to stop talking at any point of that journey. I need contentment within. I need to let go of my insecurities. Then what they are saying will not trigger me. Because now I'm not feeling like I'm not loved. I have love. I feel like I have that love within. I feel like I've gone and taken that love from people who truly love me, which is my parents. So then you start forgetting insecurity should drive you. Security should make you anchored. And then I go very, very honestly have this conversation and say that I don't want my wounds and my insecurities to drive me anymore. I really want to do this because I love what I do. I love the people around me. That is very hard to get to. Very, very, very hard to get to. I used to create content. If I see one bad comment, I'll start spiraling. I used to, talk on stage. If 3 people hooted, I'll start. I'm like, do people not like me? But how long can I live like this? How long can I live with a fear of if 2 people don't like me, I feel like I am nobody? That is not worth it. And that's when you realize the people who have made it in life are willing to tune out that noise, tune out that chaos, and focus on one thing that they truly, truly love. In my case, I tuned it out from the world into myself. Every day when I listen to myself, I spend time listening, meditating, and telling myself, Anto, you are deserving enough and you are worth it. Just know that. That is what is making me secure today. And I didn't feel like that. I always felt like I needed a role. I needed you to look at me and believe me I'm someone cool and I have an identity.
To give a title and put you in a box with the title.
I'm okay. Even if I don't have this title tomorrow, I'm worth it. And that's the power.
So, when in your case you were like I may not use the word passion because I've heard your talks on passion and how you view it. But then you had a self-driven thing within yourself. But there are people who still are trying to figure out on what they want. Or they might have discovered they don't like these many things, but they still don't know what they actually like. And how to get to that phase of knowing what you actually like.
Knowing what you actually like. I think knowing what you actually like is such an interesting question. How do you know actually what you like? The reason I'm finding it hard to answer this question is because I don't know what I actually like. I genuinely don't know.
Okay.
Because I'd be lying if I said I like 1 or 2 or 3 things and I dislike the others. I think the way I'm trying to understand what I like is what am I willing to do for which I am agreeing to go through the good, bad and the ugly for.
Okay.
What I mean by that is, if I am willing to stand for something, it goes beyond what I like.
Okay.
And I'll try and explain that. If I can stand for empowering student leaders, then I'm willing to go through the good, bad and the ugly for it. But if I liked running a company, then at some point I will start disliking it. Because I would have outgrown what I would need from the company. It doesn't stand the test of time. I want to stand for something. I want to make a commitment to something. And that commitment will teach me that I have to sometimes, for that commitment, do the things I like, do the things I don't like, and do the things I would have never thought I would have done. And that for me is a little larger as an opportunity. Because that way, I'm not only doing one thing I like. I'm not only finding out I dislike this. I'm also entering new territory. I'm also going to the unknown. Because the like and dislike I have are only from the things I know. I don't even know 20,000 things. So what if I like that?
Okay.
I don't even know if that is my liking. So the way, and in the beginning I thought I liked talking. After that, I got bored of talking. I felt like I'm going on stages saying the same thing.
Are you sure about that?
Debatable. I got bored of being that person, because then I'm selling what I like for a reason. Then I thought I like, you know, telling stories and creating content. Then I got bored of that, because now I'm doing that and it's another formula. So then I realized that I need a layer above that, which is, what can I stand for? And what if I can stand for something, then I can do all of it. I can tell stories, I can talk about it, I can meet people. I also have to do finance, I also have to do admin, I have to also listen to people, I have to also mentor, I have to also guide, I have to also coach, I have to also lead. I have to also sometimes just out of nowhere face crisis. Do I like all that?
Okay.
You get what I'm
I
saying?
understand, yeah.
But I will do it because I want to stand for it.
Is it more like to get that self-satisfaction, you will have to do certain things that you don't like maybe, but then it just comes like it just all comes together and you have to do it at times?
It's more meaningful. It's because you're not doing it to just, it's not transactional. It's not a formula. It's a lifelong, commitment. And more often than not, it's very hard to get to that commitment. You might have to do 10 things you like. You might have to do 20 things you dislike to finally come to a realization that I'm willing to do everything for a few things, or a few things I'm standing for. Some people do it, and none of this, by the way, is prescriptive. This is all personal, like literally how I have approached life. This might not be anybody else's life, and this is not for somebody else to follow either. But I felt joy only when I was able to understand that life was not only the good pictures. Life was also a lot of moments of absolute chaos and trouble and trauma and stress. But until I kept fighting it and saying that I don't want it, I don't want it, I don't want it, it started becoming more of a burden. But when I started accepting it, that's also part of everything, I started seeing beauty in it. I started seeing learning in it, not even beauty. I started seeing learning in it. And that's when I started growing. Until then, I was stopping my own growth. And that's where my experience truly comes from. My own inability, my own lack of capability will also help me grow, because at some point I have to let go of all of my storytelling, all of my drama, and say that, Anto, you are also human. You also have your problems. You also have your good gifts. Now, do something with it. That doing something for me is to stand for something.
True.
And that is how I can define finding something meaningful that you can stand for. In college, I would love when 20 people say my name and say, Anto, you're awesome, this, that. Today, I have the same feeling when people say that about me, but I really want to hope that when I'm doing that, I'm doing it because it's meaningful to me, not because I wanted to perform for somebody else to tell I'm great. Because if I did that, someday I'll stop performing, and then I'm just forgotten.
True.
That is why I said maybe it'll take me a longer time to discover who I really am, but every time I'm trying to do something, I will do it honestly. I will try to not fake it. I will try to not perform. And maybe at some point, that will make sense to everybody around me. I don't have to do it to prove a point. That is a long journey. Long journey. And I'm grateful I get to do that.
So do you think it's more or less like things will keep happening to us and we can't really do anything about that, but it's all about like how we view it and how we kind of live with the thing?
Interesting. things will keep happening. How we can't control it. We can control only our thoughts.
Exactly.
It will happen.
It will.
It will happen.
So as
There is no. It's like, you know, when you get into a relationship, right? Like when you're boyfriend girlfriend kind of relationship, you jump into the relationship. The initial stage of the relationship is honeymoon.
it is.
Everything is awesome.
Yeah,
Then
you just see the good parts. That's it.
that's what I meant by like.
Okay.
Are you understanding?
Yeah, yeah.
Like, and then how do you find what you like? You found what you like.
Yeah.
That's the person you fell in love with. If that was the case, how did a breakup happen?
You start discovering more.
And so that is the reality of life. That is the reality of life. And it's going to happen not just in a human relationship. It's going to happen in your professional commitment. It's going to happen in the choices you make with your parents. It's going to happen the choices you make with your friends. You and I had a conversation. We said, oh, we start labeling friends and call this person best friend, that person that friend. Can you control the best friend? You are saying that person is your best friend. Can you control how the best friend is going to be your best friend forever?
You really can't. It's the whole point is just letting it be.
Yes.
Let it be.
Yes, there you go. That's the answer. But to let it be is the hardest thing to do in the world. Because we love control. You and I love control. The rest of the world loves control. What do we control?
Something which we can't even control is something which we're trying to control.
Emotions, people, friendships, money. We're controlling. Why? Because as long as I have control, I feel like it can't mess with me.
But I
But
think
the
more you
more, yes.
control, more you control, more it keep messing with you.
Exactly. And it's, you got it. It's beautiful. That's exactly what it is.
So, I mean, like if you were viewing your life throughout this way, is there any point in time that you actually wanted to give up on what you were doing?
Honestly, 5 months back.
Okay.
5 months, I don't know. March 3rd and 4th was the Under 25 summit. It was the most excruciating experience of my life because everything that I believed in, every identity that I created for myself, whatever I thought was right, wrong, everything that I tried to control just fell apart. When do you realize? Your realization comes when you're saying all this. But you still haven't lived it.
Yeah.
Everything I believed in fell apart. Everybody is saying whatever they want to say. The good, the bad, and the ugly. You feel miserable. You feel lonely. You feel scared. You feel none of what you did for 10 years was worth it. And you're still trying to control the situation. You're still trying to be like, I want to keep my image. I want to be right. I want to. And then you realize that it is all a part of the process. And as long as you're willing to learn from it, as long as you're willing to let go and actually start listening, things will happen to you in a way that it never would. Because now, I felt like I wanted to give up at that point. I felt like, why am I even doing this? I felt like, who am I doing this for? And then I came to a realization that if at even that point of that feeling of groundlessness, if I still woke up and thought about this, then it means more than just money, more than just fame, more than just commitment, more than just vanity. It means something to me. And then it was a journey of going and finding that meaning again. Am I in the process of finding myself again? Yes. Am I in the process of realizing that life is cyclical, which means today I'll find, again 3 years later, I will go through another crisis which will make me question again. Yes. But do I want to give up? No. I think the only thing I learned through all of this is I'm going to stand the test of time. And I want to stand for something. That's why I said I want to stand for something. It came from a place of I don't want to build a $1 billion business. I want to be here doing this for as long as I'm alive. And that for me is powerful.
Okay, that was a little interesting. I mean,
Little interesting.
I mean, it was interesting.
Tell me what you're actually thinking.
I'm just thinking, like, when you view someone from outside, it feels like everything is just figured out. Everything is sorted for that person. I think that just comes from how little you know that other person and how much more you know yourself. Kind of puts you in a position that you judge on looking at other people, and more or less like they just portray what they want to portray. And you just see that one side of them and you just keep judging yourself every day, like you're not doing that right, you're not getting your things figured out. But knowing that everyone whom we look up to also have actually gone through the struggles, of actually had the moments of giving up, or like things are not acting the way they want it to be. It's more or less like a realization that comes to you, like it is okay, like let it be, and things will figure it out on its own at some point of time.
Yeah. And I'm grateful for the people who held my hand through all of these phases of my life. Different angels. That's why I said you can't. If I had to control, I don't know from where these people came. You get what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
there have been people like angels who've held my hand through all of these moments. The good, the great, the bad, the worst. There have been people. So if it was all about Anto Philip and his dream and his ideas and his, eloquence, no chance. He didn't control anything. Neither did anybody else. But we all, at some point, believed in each other. And I think that belief is all I can sit here and tell you is real. If someone is willing to look at you, Anna, and say that I believe in you, take that leap. I feel like you will take that leap.
Yeah.
That is the difference. We lack believers.
So now that you actually said about like people being there for you, I want to know like how important is it to surround yourself with the people who actually believe in you, or how do we pick the right ones to be with you? Because a lot of times, like, most of the problem happen with people. People is the biggest chaos ever. At the same time, people are the biggest blessing also at the same time. So how do you realize what is good for you?
What is good for you is a set of people who will not mince their words. If they truly believe in you, they are going to say it like it is. And more often than not, it's not what you want to hear.
Has it ever happened to you where you felt like the people whom you surrounded were not the right people for you, and you just wanted to, like, when you had the realization, like, how did you deal with it, if you ever had one?
I think I always was blessed with great people. I also chose my kind of people, and vice versa, my kind of people found me. But then at that point, I was still judging, right? Like, who is my kind of people? So much judgment. Oh, this person, my kind of person. At some point, I realized that I don't have to judge. I have to receive everyone for who they are. And the only kind of people I don't want to be around are people who are not enabling growth, who are pulling you down, who are just toxic in their approach so that they are sucking the life out of you. And you will start feeling that because your energy will deplete. You will not feel alive in front of them. And that is, I've said energy, feeling alive so many times. The truth is, that's the journey of listening to yourself. When you listen to yourself, you already know what is not right. Like, you just know that. Like, you go talk to your mom, she'll know when you have gone out partying without telling her. even without any clue, she'd have a
I completely agree on
she'll have a sixth sense.
Exactly.
Where is that coming from? That intuition, that gut feeling. We have to listen to that. Because that is real. That is real. But we won't give that a chance.
Yeah, we just like more people with the brains than the...
Exactly. We are using this too much. But we were blessed with this. A heart.
Yeah, whatever we're blessed with, we just look a little on it.
These are all thoughts, So much judgment. Listen to your heart.
Is it okay to judge sometimes?
To be honest, is it okay to judge sometimes? I don't think we have a choice. We are constantly judging.
I mean, is it wrong to do it?
It is wrong to make decisions from judgment, which means I cannot stop judging, which means I'm already judging. Even like I don't have an option but to judge.
Yeah.
But if I took that judgment as my base for decision making, then I'm coloring my possibility and creating a boundary. And if I want something more, something new, something different, I need to let go of that judgment.
So you've been a Christite, and I assume the entire building of the under 25 all started from Christ. And
Yeah, food court.
Kiosk?
What is it called now? Food court. That basketball court.
Yeah, okay, got it. It's the chaos that you're talking about, or the one that next to the block too?
Yeah, I think that's... What is that? Freshet-area. You know
Freshet-area,
Freshet-area?
yeah. It's over
Freshet-area,
there.
yeah.
Okay.
That's where we used to come together. We used to have discussions. I named... The name for under 24 was given under this tree right below Central Block. So we named under 25 there.
Okay.
We called it Under 25 Summit then, and then Under 25 became the holding brand. Shreyans and I were both Christites. Our first summit had only Christites because all of my friends, nobody bought tickets. Every part of Under 25's initial 2 years was Christ University as its home.
So how is it like finding your team, like finding the people whom you wanted to work with?
Luckily, again, I was blessed with great people from my own juniors, people who worked with me in college for some of the other fests or something. They believed in my passion. They believed in what I was trying to say about, what I believed in, or just in my madness. And I think they just put their hand out in support and joined me on that journey. The team was only 4 people for 4 years. 3 years, 2 years in college and 2 years after. And then slowly I started finding more people who were volunteers, who were hustlers, who slowly started subscribing to the under 25 belief system. And then we started building a strong team. And then the team grew from 5 to 10 to 50 to 70. And then zook, we came back to 8 people. Because that was the whole journey of 10 years. So now we're rebuilding the team again.
Okay.
For the next phase of the under 25 journey. So it's building teams is the hardest and the most powerful part of the process of building a company. The team wins the championship, not the idea. The idea can be anything. It's the team that's playing the game. They are on the court with you. They need to pass the ball. They need to hit the goal. And they need to have stamina to stand there for longer. No matter which game you're playing. So, sometimes, as you know, sports teams, you'll constantly have the people changing. And I think that's what building a team is like. So, I've had the blessing of having some of the best people work with me. And I'm in the process of also understanding that not everyone wants it the same way you want it. So you have to find ways in which they can all find their purpose within the same team. So working with a young team, I grew so much. I was myself a young founder. Now I realize that I want to build a very secure team, a professional team whose skill levels and whose awareness levels are really, really, really important to help me run faster, run quicker. And I'm grateful for all of the people who were in the team that have made under 25 come this far. Because at some point we pushed too hard. At some point we all burnt out. At some point each person had their maximum growth and significant low. So one of the things that I've learned through the process is don't get into hyper growth without systems and structures that can help the people within that system and structure actually have clarity. Because when someone is doing too much, they lose the joy, the foundation, the joy, the excitement, because now you're doing it because someone asked you to do it. Now you're not doing it because you love to do it. And so building teams has taught me everything that I know today. I love my people, and I at some point felt like, I have to do better as a leader to be able to build better teams. And at every part of my journey, it has been the people who got me this far. It's without people, without a team, nothing can be existing. Nothing about under 25 would have been a possibility. Students, team, and my mentors. They held all of this together, and today we are who we are, and tomorrow we're going to be what we're going to be because of that. So that is my learning from everything about team, mentors, and students.
Like being an entrepreneur, what was the change of thoughts that you had from when you just look back right now and you running a venture on yourself? Like, what are the other realization that comes up to you thinking from an entrepreneur point of view?
Allow for adult supervision. Listen to people, don't resist. But listen to your heart more than you listen to people. Listen for the times that you are forgetting why you started. Because after a point in the rat race, you're just racing. And some point the wheels will burn out. Don't get there. Don't be encouraging only one side of the story, just to be positive all the time. Be real. Be honest. Accept your flaws. You don't have to be a savior. Love unconditionally. Don't judge, because everyone has their own story. You don't know what they're going through. Give space, be comfortable with silence, and don't fill it up with your own thoughts. Dream audaciously, but don't make your dreams someone else's dreams. Dream, because without dreams, we wouldn't have come this far as humanity. So, never forget to feel like a child again. Have that awe and wonder in things. Respect people. No matter who they are. Be kind to yourself. That's it.
Okay. Just to lighten up the mood a little, how does it feel to be over 25 and running under 25?
I was waiting for this question. I'm like, how did you not ask this question already? what is your age? Oh, under 25. Will you get kicked out of under 25 if you... yeah, I feel like I'm grateful that I'm over 25 running under 25, because I was under 25 running under 25, and that was a different phase of my life. Being over 25 running under 25, I'm able to understand that there will always be young people in the world, and the role that I get to play right now is build structures and systems and a culture through which they can all find themselves, and find a playground in which they can find themselves. I don't have to play in the ground, but I can always be the one that can lay the grass,
Be the coach?
be the coach, be the mentor, be the partner, be even, the one just standing there and viewing the game, right? Like anything for that matter is so powerful. And till now, I always wanted to be in the court play. Like, I am the first student. I continue to believe that. I will be under 25 forever. But now I think I'm a little more evolved, and a little more, a lot more grey hair.
I don't see any.
Stop lying. A lot more grey hair. And I'm trying to make sure that every time I'm reminded that I'm over 25, I want to tell the world that the spirit of young people should be felt at all age. And
You never lose the child.
yeah, you never lose the inner child. Never lose the play, never lose the dance, never lose the awe and wonder, and never lose the spirit of doing something.
If you could tell something to when you were under 25, what would it be?
If actually I'll tell myself, just do it. Just continue doing what you're doing. I did exactly that. And I want to go back and tell that, Anto, that I'm so grateful for doing that, right? Like, if I thought so much and put so much experience and really worried so much, I would not come this far. That Anto, I love. He just went and did stuff. And I want to tell that under 25 Anto, thank you. Thank you for taking that leap of faith. And thank you for believing in yourself.
Will that under 25 Anto be happy with who you are now?
Will he be happy? Yes. What would he want to tell him? You have not lost that in you.
That inner child or the charm?
Yes,
Okay.
everything. All of that is still there.
The only change is the grey hair.
Yes.
Okay.
All of that is still there. Why you not, jumping on that just because you have experience or just because you have age on your side? So, nothing should be a reason to feel that spirit. I feel like age is so much of a construction, and we built so much around this age concept that we're not letting ourselves just truly enjoy life and create the distinction between the two. So I want to tell both sides. I want to tell that Anto, thank you, and I want to tell this Anto, go for it.
Okay.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that way, I know for a fact that I will never change. I will never stop insatiably wanting what I want, going and getting what I want, and loving the people around me while I'm doing that.
All right. I think we are running. I would have just loved to sit and just talk throughout.
Don't lie.
I'm serious.
Chumma, don't say all that. Thank you for giving me the space to be honest and open. I think I just walked in today saying that I don't want to, prepare and say something that, I would have thought would work. I just wanted to be real. And I hope that's what I was.
Yeah, it was. And if you could actually tell the people who are watching it, like the students, what is that message that you just want to pass on to them?
The message that I want to pass on to all of you is, just please love yourself. No matter how much you achieve or don't achieve, there is nothing else that can replace the amount of love that you can give yourself. So don't wait for validation, vanity, or reputation for you to start feeling like you're worth it. You are worth it. And you're worth it today. You're worth it now. So give yourself that love. Sometimes it's okay to not think so much and just give a pat on your shoulder and say, you're good. You are loved. That's it.
So thank you so much for actually joining with us. I mean, if I were to say, like, I came up prepared, but I felt like through the course, it was more of like, I just genuinely like wanted to, like, the questions that I asked you were genuinely the things that I wanted to ask, and I think the people who are watching it also would be like looking for such answers from you. And it was really interesting for me because throughout the conversation I was not sleeping, like you mentioned. I was
You better not.
in fact, like it did create like a lot of thought-provoking things within me. Like I was constantly thinking and analyzing like how I've been viewing things and how differently you view it, or the certain places where I could relate to you. So it was
Only certain places you related with me.
I mean,
I'm
a lot
kidding.
of places, because you're over 27 and I
Yes.
don't have hair, so I mean, I'll reach there one day, I assume. But it was altogether a really good experience, like having you over here, and it just, I'm genuinely happy that I was actually able to have this long of a conversation with you, and thank you so much for joining us.
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
What is the message you have for me?
The message that I have from you is that how you want to view your life, that it is not just about like, it's not just about like being hard on yourself and just like forcing you and restricting yourself into one or two things. It's more about like you learn throughout, you understand yourself over the period of time, and it is not a process that it's not a process that ends. It's just keep going. So just be easy on you. You will realize what you want over the period of time, or just don't limit yourself or close yourself, and be happy with who you are, and the life will progress, and you will also progress if you just take it light, and if you don't let the things control, and if you just live with it.
Amazing. You know, I also felt very strongly about that part. To not let it control you, but let it be.
Let it
I
be.
think that's the title of this video.
Yeah, let it be. Thank you.
Pleasure.